So let's talk about short-barreled pistols here for a little bit and just being safe with them. Just talking about the complex motor skills involved with handling pistols. And what I'm more referring to is these pistols right here. It's the 7.5-inch, 10-inch AR-15 style pistols, and then there's a couple of different other styles out there, the 9mm ones and whatnot, like the CZ Scorpion, MP5, etc., etc. But I just wanted to discuss just kind of handling of those types of pistols and just kind of reassuring people. One thing that people talk about when we're talking about short AR-15 style pistols like this, in 7.5-inch range, is they're concerned that their hand's going to go forward in front of the muzzle during operation, resulting in injury. That's a perfectly valid concern. Absolutely. You want to be really safe at all times. And, you know, the name of the game is you don't typically want to shoot yourself in the process of either firing the gun for recreation or self-defense. So, one thing about it, though, is I think the fear can be blown out of proportion. And I think if you train with the firearm that you have, at least moderately, then it's not going to be an issue. And there are some tricks that you can do as far as setting up the gun. So that way it becomes almost, I wouldn't say impossible, but you almost have to work to get your hand in front of the muzzle. When people talk about 7.5-inch like this, and they say, yeah, I don't want my hand getting in front of the muzzle. I ask them, well, how is this going to be any different than this? This is a standard compact pistol, commonly used with a two-hand grip, and rarely do you ever hear of anybody's hand getting in front of the muzzle on a pistol such as this, with such a short barrel. Of course, other than just negligence or just screwing off or whatnot, you know, just a total lack of training, you typically don't see that unless you're doing something really weird. You're doing some sort of retention shooting and you're not training properly and you don't pay attention to what you're doing. I can see that. But when using a traditional two-hand grip on this, your hands just flow together. It's not an issue. The same goes with the 7.5-inch AR-15 style. When you train for a given firearm, you know, the movements, the complex motor skills become a consistent thing when you're doing a lot of practice with it. When you're doing good repetitions, you're paying attention to what you're doing, and over time it becomes almost intuitive. So it's something, you know, again, the key is training. You want to make sure to train correctly with these types of firearms. Just like you would train with a small compact pistol. The two-hand grip, the one-hand grip, shooting from retention, support hand, strong hand only, all that good stuff. You want to train safely and you want to do a lot of good reps, and it just becomes intuitive. Your hand always knows where to go. Even though if you look at where the support hand thumb is, it's only a matter of inches away from the muzzle. But it's never an issue with these small compact pistols. Same goes for these, the 7.5-inch. The longer you mess with these and you train and you do what you need to do, your hand is going to instinctively go exactly where it needs to go every time. Or if you're doing the magazine grip on these, it's just going to go exactly where it needs to go. It doesn't matter if you're shooting from different positions, whatnot, if you're going fast, slow, it becomes an intuitive process. And I want you guys and gals to remember that. Just start off slow if you're concerned about it. Work your way up as far as speed and complexity goes. When it comes to these style of pistols here, and I'm kind of focusing on the AR-15 because that's kind of what this is right here. And just a quick plug, Bear Creek Arsenal. This is the upper. And I know I've done plugs for these before. Check these guys out. And if you're looking for a short upper, whether it's 7.5-inch, 10-inch, whatnot, go to them. Let them know I sent you over there. Send them a message. They will hook you up. Trust me, they've got a lot of these. In various lengths and designs. They're pretty much making them as fast as they can. A lot of people are buying stuff right now considering the current economic and global situation we got going on. But don't miss out. The stuff's still extremely inexpensive. But anyway, back on track. When you're using these AR-15 style pistols, along with training and just getting the grip right and doing all that good stuff, getting that complex motor skill, which for you guys that have watched past videos, I go into complex motor skills versus gross motor skills versus fine motor skills. A complex motor skill is something that takes hand-eye coordination and it's trained over time. So that's what this is. Most firearms handling, when it comes to marksmanship and handling and reloading and malfunction clearing and all that stuff, it's all complex motor skills. It has to be trained and you have to keep up on it. And that's what you're doing when you're using one of these AR-15 pistols. You're using training to develop complex motor skills to handle a more short-barreled setup than what traditionally you're used to in an AR-15 platform. So along with that, things that you can do to help out and create a little bit more of a margin is how you set up the front end of the gun. So there's a couple different things with the pistol. You know, obviously there's some legalities involved as far as what you can put on front of the gun. This is an angled forward grip right here. And then I have a mounted light from Nightstick Lighting. And I have a fixed iron sight right here. So how this gun is set up, when my hand comes out, it's almost impossible for it to go forward. The thing that might happen, worst case, is if I'm really too aggressive, I may get an accidental discharge of the light if I'm not intending to turn the light on. That's about it. That's because of the design of this light. It's a push button design. But my hand will go right there. It is going to take a very, very awkward movement to get my hand to come over and get to where it could be injured by either a bullet itself or just the muzzle blast. And that's usually what you'll have when it comes to injuries. It's not so much your hand going over the muzzle, it's just your hand getting too close. The blast hits it, especially if you got like a muzzle brake versus a flash hider that's directing those gases out, and then you injure your hand. But this, the way it's set up, my hand pretty much stops right there where it needs to be. It cannot go anywhere else. Let me go around from a different angle here so you can see it from the other side. It just comes up and bang, it just stops. So be really smart with how you outfit these things. Also, different tactics work, or I should say not tactics, but different techniques work on different firearms. Now, one technique that a lot of people stray against, or stray from, I should say, correct terminology here, is the magazine grip. And I see why. Because on rifles and whatnot with big barrels, if you're wanting to go fast and control between targets, that could slow you down a little bit because all your grip is in the back. You got some barrel weight and barrel momentum and stuff in the front. But that's really not much of a factor when you're talking about a short 7.5-inch pistol. So that's another option too. You can do that as well. But what I suggest is just a lot of training, and at the same time, set up your gun smartly and in a way that will help you out. One thing that I recommend you folks do in any type of firearms training is to go ahead and look at reputable trainers online. The best thing to do is to go out and actually get training somewhere at a class, but that's a hard thing to do. It is, between managing schedules and the expenses and all that stuff. It can be a bear. But, you know, you can go out and you could look at like Costa Ludus, Haley Strategic, Thunder Ranch, a bunch of other good, well-known training companies out there. You can see their stuff online and you can get a start and kind of figure out what you need to do. And just look at stuff specific to your firearm. Another thing is, don't just go with somebody's opinion. You can go ahead and, you know, challenge that opinion if you'd like. Again, a common thing when people talk about 7.5-inch guns is, well, it's too short. My hand will get in front of the muzzle. Well, yes and no. Like I just said, yeah, technically you can put your hand in front of the muzzle, but you kind of got to work at it, especially with how mine's set up. So it's a training issue. When you just look at things and you say, okay, this is what's going on, and you just kind of follow what everybody's saying, you may be missing out on something. So I'm not trying to oversell the 7.5 inch. I think, one of the better lengths out there, if you're going to go with a shorter barrel pistol setup, is right around the 10 inch. I think that's kind of a better length. But the 7.5 inch is certainly something, for a short gun that's really easy indoors. Yeah, it's loud. It's damn loud. But it's really easy to operate. Very nimble. With decent ammo, it still has a good punch to it within those small, short self-defense ranges. I'm talking 100 yards on in. I still think it'll do great. So just bottom line, I know I'm yammering here, but just kind of look at the mechanics involved. If you're worried about being in an unsafe situation with the firearm, look at the firearm itself and say, okay, this is what I need to do with it. So, and I think you'll be okay. And for people that say, well, I'm so used to gripping out on a 16-inch barrel, I'll do the same thing on a 7.5 inch because of habit. I'll disagree with that, because do you do the same thing when you transition to a pistol? No, you don't. Your hands just know where to go, because your brain is a very, very capable tool and is very smart. A lot of you guys don't give yourselves enough credit. You know that you're not holding a rifle anymore. You're holding a pistol. Well, the same thing goes for the small, shorter barreled. You know that, okay, automatically well, this isn't some big old rifle I'm shouldering or whatnot. This is a shorter pistol. Act accordingly. And you're going to be just fine. So don't worry about it so much. If you really want to try the short barrel game, go for it. They're fun. If anything, it's just a fun gun to have. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, or you can go online and query those people out there that do this stuff for a living. Again, like Haley Strategic, Thunder Ranch. I love Thunder Ranch. Clint Smith and Thunder Ranch. Those are awesome people over there. Costa Ludus is another good one. And they'll, you can look at what they have, and they'll kind of give you a good groundwork on where you need to go. But all right, thanks a lot for watching as always. Stay safe, and yeah, have fun.